My name is Gina Ferrus, and I welcome you to our podcast, Let's Not Be Bystanders, where we explore my work and journey for 30 years in Haiti, living life and establishing two successful NGOs. Every episode will share my understanding on how to run a successful NGO, exploring the realities of social injustice that inhibits Haiti as a nation to advance. We will explore my work at FEJ, and I will provide guidance to those who have interest and are seeking to understand Haiti, sharing every episode an experience of hope and how to build a legacy of love and unity.
My name is Rachel, and I'll be your facilitator for today's episode of Let's Not Be Bystanders podcast about FEJ's educational programs with Gina Ferrus, President and CEO of Fondation Enfant Jesus. Gina, could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Yes, my name is Gina Ferrus. I am the CEO and President of Fondation Enfant Jesus, aka FEJ. So
Gina, could you please give us a quick history of the Enfant Jesus School?
Absolutely. Well, the founder of FEG, which was Lucienne Angelici Duncan, she resided and lived in a rural community called La Modèle. And she decided to create initially a small school in her backyard because she felt her community was disarray and the children were not getting education. And so this is when she initiated the school in 1985. But very rapidly, that school got full, and she was using every area of her backyard. There was 300 kids in a very condensed space. And so when she asked me to take over Fondation Enfant Jesus, the first thing was we needed a new school. So we put all our heads together, the founders and the board and the team, and we created we created the first time in Haiti saw a live televised telethon. And the campaign was called Corporate Responsible Giving in Haiti. And this is how we were knocking on all the doors of all the big businesses in Haiti, as well as the government's door. And we were able to put on with some of the most famous Haitian artists all-day telethon, which was a success. That day alone, we raised $140,000 from every area of the country. People were sending one good, $2, but everybody participated. It was a great success. And this is how we built a new school, which we inaugurated in 2008. And rapidly I realized, wow, now we have this beautiful school, and now we have to make sure the quality of education in that school is the same. So early, we initiated the 7-year plan, and there were key things that needed to be resolved. First of all, majority of the teachers were coming from Port-au-Prince, and I thought that was very alarming and concerning. And so we rapidly tried to identify who was going to be the future principal of the school and how we were going to make that transition in using more locals instead of having to outsource teachers from Port-au-Prince, which we did. We identify a young man that was the first 50 to graduate from the initial school and invested in his education, and that's how we initiated the 7-year plan. And continued to think about others that could be teachers. He became our role model for the community. That attracted others to be interested in becoming teachers. And we started with the 7-year plan, which we finished in 5 years. And so then we had to create new objectives. But primarily, we wanted to upgrade the standard of quality of education of the kids. We wanted to give them exposure to the outside world, and as well as we wanted to focus a lot on reading and all kinds of things that were not part of the curriculum of the Minister of Education in Haiti. And as I got more involved in the school and I was looking at the children during recess on the playground, it was very alarming to me what I saw. I saw the children were very aggressive. They were expressing a lot of violence among themselves, which for me was normal because, you know, they had seen so many unrest since 2008 in 2088, after the regime of Duvalier fell, Haiti has not seen much stability. And so many of these kids grew up in that era. And so we end up having to incorporate other alternatives to help them have other ways of expressing their emotions besides the violence that was being illustrated in the playground. And that's how we incorporated art, sports, music, theater, poetry, which gave the kids another outlet of expression. And we also incorporated civic responsibility and had them do small projects in their community. And we also felt it was very important that the parents were involved in the school. Originally, when the school started, Mommy Lucienne, that's how we call her, Mommy Duncan, that was the name she had. Everyone called her by that. Shared with me how, the parents couldn't even provide the tuition fee, which was, at the time was $1. And so that really got me thinking. And so rapidly we created another program, which we will talk about in depth in another episode. But it was successful. The parents became more engaged in the school. Then, with the leadership of the principal, that was one among them, he was able to create a PTA and had parents on the PTA making decisions for the school, which really was, successful. And as well as, I can say, one of the things that we also put a lot of emphasis on was making sure we were doing a holistic approach to each child that was a student in that school, which included providing them 2 meals a day, uniform, books, as well as follow-up medical care yearly.
And what would you say is the main mission of the school?
Is to uplift and educate the children and their families, and to give them the best quality education so they can have the skill sets to be able to be inspired to do more with their lives. That is also an issue I learned in my journey in Haiti, was often kids would stop school at the primary level. And so in the way we're approaching the school with the children, we inspire them to want more. And one of the nice things we do to do that, we bring in volunteers from all over with different professions. And in the summer, we'll do summer camps where they'll meet these people, we'll share what they do in their lives and careers. Because the tendency in Haiti, I have to tell you, every mother's dream is that their child will be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, and a politician. Whereas the country has so much more other skill sets it needs. So we are really promoting the kids to do more with their lives and making sure that they understand the importance of living in a community, how to engage themselves in their community, as well as making sure their parents have a voice in their children's education.
And so overall, for the educational programs of FEJ, what are your main objectives?
Quality education, making sure that the children stay in their community, invest in their community, making sure we also have leaders from these kids that will be tomorrow's teachers and educators in their own community, as well as preserving families and protecting. We're very big on child protection and the rights of children. And one of the things we incorporated, there's another organization in Haiti that does a lot in teaching. It's called FOCAL. They teach a lot about democracy. And so in our school, at early age, we train the teachers how to incorporate that in their education to make them better citizens tomorrow and to know what it is to live in a democratic society, and keeping in mind that these children are the ones that have benefited from a democratic society, whereas many others in the past have lived under a dictatorship.
And so why was it important to serve the kids of the community of La Marthe?
Because they're the future of the community. And in order to encourage them to stay in their community, it's important to make sure they have everything they need in their community to want to stay there and raise their kids there too. The problem in Haiti is in many rural regions of the country, everybody is sending their kids to Port-au-Prince because they feel that Port-au-Prince is the only place to get good education, which is not the case. Often they find themselves sending their kids to Port-au-Prince and finding them in what we call bolet schools, lottery schools that basically just takes the money of the parents that work so hard to send their kids to school. Every Haitian mother wants their child to be educated. But unfortunately, a lot of times they send their kids to schools where the kids end up not even being able to read and write. And that was one of the things that Mommy Duncan was very adamant in assuring that the kids in her community would have a quality education. We just came along and just added a little bit more to it.
And so how do you make the school program sustainable?
It has been very difficult, but I have to tell you that we end up creating a sponsorship program that is very unique because it's very personalized. Majority of the sponsors are too happy to take the child from kindergarten and follow that child all the way to primary and middle school. And they have a great direct correspondence with that child, and they are encouraged to visit Haiti and the children in the school because we do have the infrastructure to receive them and to participate. And it's nice because every year when the new school year is starting, many sponsors, not only do they sponsor the child financially, but they send school supplies for the kids to start the new year, sometimes new sneakers, things like that.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you pay your teachers and then also make the education affordable for the kids of Lac Mountain?
Well, basically, as the time evolved and now that the parents are more engaged in the school and they appreciate the quality of education of the school, parents are asked to give a little bit more. It's symbolic. It's still less than $3 US a year. And we encourage them to be volunteers. We encourage the parents as well to barter. If you can't afford to pay for your child's school and your farming land, we provide 2 meals a day to the children. So anything that the farmers bring us is always welcome. And of course, we are trying to more and more develop our sponsorship programs with our different chapters throughout the world. We have a chapter in France that is very proactive in the school, especially around the nutritional aspect of the school and helps us with the little personnel. We're hoping to also create a sponsorship program for teachers. We haven't gotten to it, but it's been in the back burner for a while. The only reason that we haven't moved forward in it is because basically with all the unrest, we've been very preoccupied, but that is another option. Sponsor a teacher, especially a teacher that is from the community, that we are already investing in their education, and also sponsor a child and follow that child.
And so do you have any programs for the parents?
Yes, we do. Of course, parents are engaged in the PTA, and we also have another program which I will be elaborating in another episode called Seeking Life. We call it Chercher la Vie, where we help parents engage in small businesses. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in that episode.
Great. And so why does nutrition play a role in the development of the children of the school in La Mountain?
That is a very important question because I've seen the evolution. When we initially started the school, we actually had to incorporate a catch-up program for many children that were very delayed and started school very late, and to get them all to catch up at their grade level. That was and then from there we saw that, and when we started doing some studies, we realized a lot of these kids had delays, especially in their health, especially malnutrition, anemia, and that made us realize, as well as our other program, Seeking Life, that we needed to open a daycare at the school. And in doing so, starting with kids from the age toddler, from 10 months to up, allow us to give the children a better start because they get stimulated. They also get nutritional balance and snacks to help them evolve and nurture their brain and their body. And over the years, I've seen a difference in the results. Kids that have been in the school since daycare, today that are in first grade, second grade, you see that they are very much more assertive, cognitively much more able, and their grades are so much different. They are able to catch so much faster.
And so we know that La Mardelle is used for the school program, but do you have any other use for the facility?
Yes, absolutely. We use the facility to run our camps in the summer. As well, we leave the opportunity as well for the community associations and those that are legit to use the property to do other things, meet there, or do other activities after school hours or sometimes in the summer.
Mm-hmm. And so how do you make the School of La Mardelle the heart of the community?
Well, first of all, this is where FEJ started. The school was the main catalyst that the founders started with. And from there, like I shared with you from the beginning, our approach to this has always, in everything we do in FEJ, is holistic approach. And so the school has been the catalyst to us adding multiple other programs to facilitate that holistic approach for the children and the families. And I have to tell you, the biggest mandate of our organization is child protection and family preservation, which is always on the front line. Mm-hmm.
And so do you have any future plans for the educational program of La Mardelle, and also how the vocational training program fits into that?
Well, I want to add, first of all, one of the things that throughout the years that we've discovered is everything we do must have some form of educational format in it. So we're doing education always in every one of our programs in a different level. So that is something that I always like to remind people. For us to do all we do in all the programs, we always put education first, in front. Whether it is for the kids or for the parents or any of the benefactors, even in our community health clinics. So for sure that this has been like our middle point, center point, education. But in doing so, it has evolved in other programs. And that has also, the school has become such a catalyst to the community that it's evolved in helping us help the community develop its own structure. In our dream, in our vision, is one day that we would be able to hand over that school to the leaders of the community and those educators we have been investing in all those years. We're not there, but I definitely feel that we're getting close.
And could you tell us a bit about how the vocational training program fits into the future of the educational programs?
Well, originally we did try that a couple years ago with some of our partners, and it was not successful. So we had to reevaluate that program and had come to the conclusion, based on what the feedback we were getting from the community. I like to always tell everyone, everything that is done in FEJ is not decided by us, it's what we are being told from those we're serving. And that's how we build our programs, based on their needs and what they're telling us. So you need to know that we concluded from the school and the previous vocational school that we initiated that if we're going to do anything in vocational, it needs to be related to agriculture, because the community has in the past been very profitable for the community, people of the community, the residents of the community, when in the past, in the 60s, it was producing a lot of mangoes and citrus fruits. And that all deteriorated during the time of the dictatorship. But today, one of our big challenges is getting young people interested in agriculture. Many of them say to us, they feel that it's a lot of work for very little return. And so this is where we're going to be focusing in the future in our vocational needs for the community, is in agriculture, making it more interesting for our young people in the community, as well as making it more profitable for them. Definitely, there are some infrastructure problems to be resolved, but that is where we're going with the vocational program in the future.
So for those who are listening, how can they help support the educational programs and also sponsor a student in La Martelle?
Well, like I said, sponsoring a child in our school program, in our school, is mostly is unique. It's a unique program in terms of sponsorship because you develop and are engaged with that child. You get the opportunity to see that child evolve. And since we have many different partners in Europe, like in France and Germany, in Canada and United States, we encourage these partners to bring these sponsors with them when they come for a yearly trip, or every 2 years. Most of the Europeans, the representatives of these organizations come to Haiti, and we encourage them to bring some of these families that are sponsored, or these individuals that are sponsored kids, spend time with the kids, get to know the kids. And it's evolved to a point where they write to the kids write back to them, they send gifts for the kids. One of the unfortunate things is a lot of the kids that are sponsored in the European programs, because of the time difference, they are not able to do FaceTime, or because we do have a computer library at the school. But that is something, and now that we have the Canadian chapter, we're hoping to be able to do more and more, that the kids can have FaceTime with their sponsor and share with the sponsors some of their achievements and some of their challenges too. Unfortunately, we have never gotten any grants or any support from the Minister of Education, and it's surprisingly sad. I've been at this for more than 35 years. It's very rare to find an organization that is interested in investing in education in the long term. And that is a challenge. And that's why we created this special, unique sponsorship program, because these children need long-term support, not just 1 month or a year.
And where should they go to sponsor a student?
Well, if they go on our site, Fondation Enfant Jesus, from that site, click on partners, and they'll see the different partners throughout the world. And if you live in Canada, you can always sponsor from FEJ Canada. We've got Mission in Tears in Toronto, and different partners throughout the world. If you're in France, we have a partner in Germany, as well as, of course, the United States.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Gina, for sharing that information with us today.
Thank you so much, and I'd just like to encourage anyone that's interested in education. There's some very amazing kids in Haiti that do need your help, that do want a future. So please invest in their education.
Sorti l'ending, pas jamais les guetons.